you've heard this before. I feel very confident, which is something along the lines of, yes, it's all very terrible. I'm just waiting for that comet to come. If
Comet, she said.
comet,
Oh
something,
yeah.
like
Hmm.
basically we'll all be better off once humans are wiped from this earth.
Right.
And of course, this characterizes misanthropy, excuse me.
Hmm.
And I mean, I again, it wasn't a conversation as I described, so my gentle suggestions around there being maybe some value to human life on this planet were not really well received or even heard. And I'm just curious what your thoughts are with misanthropy as the growing response to the trouble that we're in right now.
Sorry, what's your question about the misanthropy?
Basically, like, what are your thoughts on that response to our to us to our situation? Like, and in that, I guess I'm kind of asking, like, is there a value to human life? Would we be better off if we were, I mean, we the planet be better off if we were all just killed?
Excuse me. Um, well, first of all, I don't think that misanthropy is a response. It's the collapse of response. It's the easiest non-response to have. It sure sounds like a response, but willful self-annihilation is the absence of the capacity to respond. Right? You think about our verb, the verb to understand. Today, we mean it in a sort of comprehensive way. It's an allegation of comprehension, but of course, it's a spatial word, and if it's engaged at the level of its ordinariness, it has a lot to say to us. The capacity to understand is predicated on the willingness to stand under what you propose to draw some bead on. That's why it's called understanding. You see, it locates you and then gives you a function. Locates you underneath what you propose to try to have some clarity about, instead of uh, over and above it, instead of speculating at a great distance. It locates you underneath the place that would seem the least enabling of a comprehensive take on things. And then it obliges you to stand there. That's what the function of understanding um, pleads for, the willingness to stand under. And that's the reason we have that word, is because of the etymology of our word arch, which is the root word for archetype and architecture and arcane and many, many words as it happens. And all of these point to the fact that the nature of the arch, the architectural feature called the arch, you can't locate the arch up in the air, you see, because if it wasn't engaged on the ground and in the ground, it would not have the capacity to arc as it does and to sustain the weight that is above it. So the reason we have the word archetype is it's whispering to us quietly that the real arche is to be found in the foundation, beneath the foundation, if you will. So this is my way of saying then that I think, our principal obligation in a time uh, of extraordinary uh, belittling of individual opinion and stance and things of this kind is to be willing to not be so sure of ourselves, nor to generate, quote, solutions and stand by them no matter what, or trade them in for the latest, greatest, newest solution. And to do something that requires more discipline than it requires sense of uh, good outcome for tomorrow. The word discipline means the kind of rigor of approach that you're willing to take upon yourself for the sake of the learning you propose to have or to obtain from the one in that you hold in high esteem. That's the root word for disciple as well. And we might be disciples of trouble. This would not be a bad outcome in the short term. If we were really willing for our heartache on these matters to be the master of the proceedings. And in that sense, it wouldn't be our heartache at all, really. What it would be, our heartbrokenness is not something that we are masters of, but we could be, in a real way, tutored by it. And that would be, heartbreak is a genuine, authentic response to implacable troubles, either romantically, existentially, ecologically. The observation, I think, holds. And to genuflect in the direction of self-hatred, either as a species or as an individual or as a race or as a particular culture. I mean, all of these things show a palpable unwillingness to take upon oneself the discipline of learning. Because that's what misanthropy does. It absolves you of the obligation to learn, because you're just shit and nothing good can come from you. I leave people to their misanthropy if they insist. That's like feeding your children the kids menu at any restaurant of your choice. You might imagine that because it's called a kids menu, it's good for your kids. But if you investigate it for 5 seconds, it's an abomination masquerading as a menu. Mm-hmm. And misanthropy is something similar. It's a meager and miserly diet pretending to be a feast of conscience. But it's not a feast of conscience. It's the annihilation of conscience and the unwillingness to be visited in an ongoing way by the consequences that were put into motion by the people who acted on our behalf until it was our turn. And then a sorrowful unwillingness to really change course when it was our turn. I'm not saying misanthropy is not understandable. I'm just saying it's a mixture of cowardice and an unwillingness to show up.